I actually saw those who were killing. You know, there was some who were actually killing.
Yeah.
Yeah, they killed people for 3 days.
Yeah.
Well, then babies. I don't know whether it was real, but at least we saw some symbolic killing on stage. And then they were covered there. We're told that in 3 days' time, they will come and raise them up. And indeed, on the third day, they raised them up. But as to whether they were killed or not, we saw blood.
And why they lay there for all 3 days. that was how terrible is it. Right, you remember the orbit at Kaneshi? Yeah. That's where they used to organize those things. Ozi.
Mr. Rollins' orbit.
Yeah, and then before you know, somebody's wallet is missing, and you find it in another person's pocket.
And that is what actually annoyed Mr. Rollins when he came to power in '79 and pulled that place down. It used to be an exciting place, even though a lot of miscreants around there. Yeah. But I remember when we were kids, we would go there and try and play a few tricks, but the Rollins got angry and then pulled everything.
I think that even up to date, you have remnants of those.
Oh yeah, Kennedy is still that kind of.
I mean, you have people who are doing the Ajana too. That's what they call it. So they put the rope there. They ask you to choose the knot and then zero, and then they take your money.
Take your money away. All right.
But still there.
If I had a magician in my house, I'd probably, like Brian was saying, take a rich man's wallet and put it in my own because the economy is eating us up.
What if at the time you ask him to take out the wallet is empty? He
has to see and make sure there's enough before he takes it anyway. Maybe it's time for headlines now. We'll start off with Daily Statesman. It says, chiefs urged to be agents of development. That's on page 7. Also, UN needs urgent reforms. That's coming from the president as he addresses the 72nd UN General Assembly in America. Then also MPP applauds president for celebrating Nkrumah. There's an insert of the acting general secretary of MPP, Mr. John Boydu.
The president did very fine at the UN yesterday. For me, he touched on 3 key issues. One, restructuring the UN, you know, the structure of the UN so that it appeals to the current situation. Exactly. He also speaks about the fact that, well, ECOWAS and AU must work towards the political and economic development of the people. And he said that, well, he was committed to the SDGs. I'm sure that's why the AMA has named him Ni Kwaku Okujiaman the first to fight against. But there are so many of the SDGs, so I don't know which one he was referring to be championing because the SDGs are plenty. I mean, a lot of them. So, Mr. President, good morning to you. Apart from sanitation, what else? Let's know how far. How far?
The issue of reforming the United Nations, I don't know if UN Assembly members are not listening, or perhaps they think that it's a gradual process. Because I heard of reforming the UN in the days of Boutros Ghali.
Right.
And up to today, we're still talking about reforming. What is there a challenge to reforming? I think one of the key issues about reforms, which in the past we had raised, was getting an African country to be one of the Security Council, those who have the veto powers, which doesn't seem to be getting any support anywhere. So I don't know if 2017 our president is talking about reforming the UN, and if officials of the UN or the world body is listening, because it's been a call that has been made almost every year, and yet we keep making them. So perhaps we should be taught something, that indeed it's something in the agenda we're planning towards it. Other than that, I bet you next year we'll find another leader calling for reforms at the UN.
I don't know, but Bright, I find it quite interesting because the president himself has served as foreign affairs minister before. He's been a former diplomat, and he's sat in those meetings. So I'm sure he's very well informed as to what the issues are, because he sat through at the time of Mr. Kofi Annan as well. But rightly, as you put it, this issue is not the first time it's coming up.
It's not.
I think that there are some superpowers of the world who are holding on to the power that they have, and they don't want to leave it or let it off. Because take a look at this. When those superpowers meet and they decide that, well, there's war here and we want to go and take over that place, they don't need your consent. They just come and take over. So now if you put a member of us there, we would say, well, perhaps hasten slowly, not be quick in going there and all of that. So I don't know, but I just don't think they are committed to it.
Exactly.
Because of all the persons who spoke, it was the president who said that, well, let's look at reforms. All the others didn't. They just came to present the speech and they walked away. So let's see how it goes. I mean, it is our president's voice loud enough
to champion this cause. Is the will and the courage to do so. You see, when it comes to the UN, like even on the small scale political front, you see the division, and it comes to the selfishness with which some heads of state have wielded power. Because at this point, when UN comes to reforms, there are some things you'd have to let go. There are some things you have to renege on, and these are things some persons have taken entrenched positions in and are failing to do so. Rightly so. Bright says concerning the Security Council, Africa seems to be the most hit when it comes to security. But what power do we have on the UN front to champion this cause of reforms, even in that Security Council? So I guess moving forward, they urgently have to look at this. The African bodies have to come together and push for it, because at the end, we stand to benefit the most. When it comes to America, I mean, they're forced to reckon with North Korea. When they fight these battles amongst themselves, we don't really benefit, or really, it doesn't change our front. But until we take that course and champion it, we may still be talking about US needing reform, UN needing reforms in later years.
I tell you what, yesterday Donald Trump sounded rather condescending to our president. I mean, a few months ago, he was the one who was saying, well, Africans are lazy, they don't want to do blah, blah, blah. And now he says, well, a lot of his friends now want to come to Africa, or are there in Africa trying to get rich. And our leaders were laughing, they were happy, they were smiling to it.
To laugh about.
Yes. I mean, that somebody is coming to your corner to exploit you. If indeed America is as great as they want us to believe, why didn't they stay in America to get rich? And why do they want to come here to come and get rich? That's the question.
That's spreading their tentacles.
Yes, spreading their tentacles where? Into somebody's food. Okay.
Anyway, let's move on to Daily Heritage. They say, stop copying foreign culture. That's coming from Nana Nketiah the 5th. He tells Ghanaians at Ghana Heritage Month Forum on page 3. Also, will not depend on foreign aid. That's coming from the president. He spoke at the UN meeting. Also, fake people using Nkrumah's name to make money. That's coming from an ex-MP. Then there's a comment by John Ajekunkufor, he's ex-president of Ghana. He says, ours is not a poor country, and even though we are now a poor people, there should be no room for the despondency that has settled on large sections of the population. Indeed.
Okay.
Presidents can speak English.
They can, no?
All right.
It's a good communication.
So, as for the foreign culture, I don't know how and when we can stop it. As usual, Nana himself has been saying this for quite a couple of years now. Everywhere we go, we're told to throw away what is not ours and believe in what is ours. But it's just a saying, because I mean, at the end of the day, these cultures are imported into our system through all manner of ways, and I don't know if we have the means to stop them. Another way, we're virtually opening up to everything. I don't know. So for me, it just becomes
we should stop. Right, like you rightly said, when it's a culture, it's a way of living of a people. Why then do you think we seem to appeal, or the foreign culture appeals better to us than our own culture? Obviously, it's because of the way it's presented. It looks more attractive, it looks better, it looks reasonable, you can think through it. But what have we done with our local, cultures? We seem to rubbish it because it looks too, it's not packaged well. Let me put it like that.
It's not about packaging, it's about understanding.
Again, that's what I'm saying.
For example,
I don't get why, in the olden days, maybe they'll say, if you're eating, don't put your hand on the I'm just using that as an example. Until we get to the point where we explain to children, okay, I'm saying A, B, C, D because of this and that and that, then the child understands why my mother says this. But we have grown up in a culture where when the adult says it, that's it. We don't ask questions. We don't debate about it. And I think, for me, growing up, this is what I've seen has, made our culture not appealing to the youth. But maybe if we change it, if we modernize it in a bit, that's not to say taking the foreign culture altogether, but modernize it as the years change to make it appeal to the generation you want to speak to. Until then, maybe we'll still have this challenge of importing the foreign culture holistically.
While I agree with you, I also think that a lot of young people of today do not want to learn, don't want to dig deeper. Right. Look at the fine dress you're wearing. It's a GTP, an African print, but it's an Obroni design cloth. You understand? So this is an Obroni dress, but made with GTP. Look at Senior Bride's tie. The concept of the necktie is Obroni, but we made it with our own kente. Look at my pants. The concept of trouser is Obroni, but we did it with GTP. So the question then becomes, are we learning the details of ours so that we're looking at culture, both cultures, mutatis mutandis, the main issue? Are we looking at it like that? For example, in the issue of making libation, people have come to accept that, well, if it is not prayer where you clasp your hands and you close your eyes and you say a prayer to some God that you don't know somewhere, or you don't, whatever you perceive God to be, then you are not praying. As soon as you put alcohol or water on the ground and you call Kwame and Asase or Atana Nyumo and all of those things, then it is fetish. It is not proper. But if you actually listen to what they are saying in the libation, it is prayer. For example, in the Ga libation, they say, oh, Acha Akpe or no Akahime. 1,000 shall fall on your side, 10,000 on the other side. But you see, so it is in there. When we fetch water, we drink, may our thirst be quenched. When we dig a well, may we find water. It is there, explanatory. Our people are too quick to dismiss what we have.
Johnny, rightly on that, isn't not the way it's presented. How many times do we see people pouring libations in a solemn way? It has to come with dramatics. It has to come with the antics. They are usually bare-chested. No, Johnny, these are the real things. It looks scary. Yes, they are jumping around like someone is dying, someone is convulsing.
And that's where I have a problem. If a pastor prays for somebody in church, and then the person falls into a trance or whatever it is, and they start speaking a language that you don't understand, then it is spiritual. But if a chief priest pours libation, and then something takes over and the person starts jumping like that, then it is fetish. I think that we don't even respect what we have. Look, let me tell you, Numogbele, for example, and there's another one who has a heavy, I've forgotten his name, but he came to pour libation at a national function, and even the rappers were applauding because how he was going about the thing. Charlie, super.
But Johnny, even when you put the church to this fetish thing, I don't think it's the same, because when you're in the church, the way some people dramatize it, I still have a problem with it, and that's not necessarily foreign culture, because in the foreign culture, you don't even see that. You don't see the drama with it. I mean, they just pray in their church, they're solemn about it. Very little. Usually it's when Africans have Johnny, it's usually when Africans have infiltrated the of some sort. But if we're talking pure foreign culture, they make it more appealing. It looks more well packaged and decent than we do. But I mean, I understand.
Our
like libations are nice,
like
but it has to, jump.
We like everything Obroni.
So I am saying that it has become another talk shop because, look, we should stop copying. If I walk into a hotel today, a restaurant, and the only food I have is continental or Chinese rice, how am I supposed to be eating our local food when it is not there? Okay, so
present it to us.
Yes, if we need to, we can't stop copying if the thing is there. How many restaurants in Accra can you find that are serving wache or some other local food? The last time I heard, there was a hotel in Accra selling a Gary photo for 500 cedis. I was like, really? What kind of Gary?
Our own Gary photo.
Yeah, Gary photo.
It's for 500 Ghana.
And I hear Soakings is about
150.
No, that's that's not true.
That's true. I mean, we saw the pictures and the price.
We saw pictures, but they said they had Photoshop.
But they gave it another name. I've forgotten the name.
Cassava flakes.
Yeah,
cassava flakes pudding.
But it's Soakings. Okay. So let us find a local food or in the menu of some of these restaurants and hotels. I think we'll go there and eat them. But if we continue to see the thigh rice, the this, the that, certainly we'll
but you see, we have gotten to the point where people have been made to believe that, for example, if somebody is eating banku and tilapia and somebody is eating, say, pizza, the pizza is much more of a higher class, is more healthier, blah, blah, blah. But think about the nutritional value. You are a doctor, for example. If I stop by in the afternoon to eat agbilekaklo and coconut, I'm getting my nutrients.
You are.
If you also go and buy your pizza, you are getting your nutrients. It's a matter of choice. I mean, why would somebody see banana, proper banana, natural banana and go and buy banana juice.
Yeah.
What is wrong with you? What is your problem? What exactly?
You can do a smoothie. You
I
just blend
want
it
the
now
fiber
and
myself.
Okay.
What is your problem?
All right. So
what exactly is it?
We'll stop copying. We'll stop copying.
We should
That's
stop
what I
copying.
like.
Somebody sees yoke gari or wachi that has beans, that has rice, that has all the other nutrients in it, a complete meal, or banku and okra stew, and then they want to go and eat some pudding somewhere. That's
anyway, guys.
some rice and sugar and milk. Then that is what they want.
Okay. It's rice water now. It's rice water.
Oh no, it's not just rice water. Even the rice water that we know, the way they cook it, heavy rice water.
Add cinnamon.
All right.
Anyway, guys, we'll take a break at this point. We'll be back with more news for you. Stay.
Good morning to you. My name is Anthony Jackson, and this is the news for the morning. President Akufo-Addo has called for reforms in the UN Security Council to ensure fairness and to strengthen democracy. In his maiden address to the United Nations at the 72nd General Assembly meeting in New York, President Akufo-Addo said the global organization is currently not seen as being fair to its own members, hence the need for urgent reforms.
President Akufo-Addo spoke about the introduction of the free senior high school program, which has ensured that students who in the past could not afford secondary education now have that chance. The president told the meeting Ghana is working to open up opportunities for all its citizens.
No longer should Ghanaians feel they have to subject themselves to the intolerable and inhumane conditions of crossing the Sahara and drowning in the Mediterranean in the hope of making a living in Europe. We've just started the free senior high school program, which aims to guarantee secondary education for all of Ghana's children. This program will ensure that all our children will be educated to at least secondary level, and money, or the lack of it, will no longer mean a denial of education.
President Akufo-Addo gave an assurance of Ghana's commitment to maintain friendly relations with all countries and peoples of the world.
The full engagement of Ghana through the Economic Community of West African States, ECOWAS, in the process of West African integration, and through the African Union, AU, in the process of African integration, remains a goal of my government. Regional and continental integration are in Ghana's interest, as they represent one of the surest ways towards establishing the conditions for prosperity in our region and on the continent.
He again called for urgent reforms in the UN.
Ghana supports the process of UN reform, especially of the UN Security Council, as set out in Africa's common position on UN reform, based on the Esselwini Consensus. The time is long overdue to correct the long-standing injustice that the current structure and composition of the UN Security Council represent for the nations of Africa.
President Akufo-Addo has called on African leaders to put education first in their bid to achieving the Sustainable Development Goals by 2030. Speaking at the Bloomberg Global Business Forum in New York, President Akufo-Addo noted education is the most important of the SDGs, with the potential to greatly improve Africa's fortunes.
Goal 4 of the Sustainable Development Goals SDGs challenges government to ensure inclusive and quality education for all and promote lifelong learning. This goal targets to ensure that all girls and boys complete free primary and secondary schooling by 2030. SDG 4 also aims to promote equal access to affordable vocational training to eliminate gender and wealth disparities and achieve universal access to a quality higher education.
If we can, and it is eminently feasible, be in a situation where by 2030 we can say that all of Africa's children are in school and having access to good quality education, the impact of that on the development of the continent and on the quality of life of the people would be enormous.
President Akufo-Addo noted that his government's implementation of the free senior high school policy is an indicator that sustainable development goals can be measured and realized by 2030. The president told the 2017 Bloomberg Global Business Forum in New York the introduction of free senior high school policy in Ghana has ensured that over 100,000 students who hitherto could not get access to secondary education now have that opportunity.
This year, which is the first introduction of the system of free senior high school education, the number has reduced from 100,000 to 36,000. And it's very much in its infant years, the implementation of the policy. And the 36,000 are not finding a place in the public schools, the senior secondary public schools, not because of money any longer, but because they weren't able to meet the qualifying mark. Part of the policy is to give them the opportunity to resit the exam and be able to join the stream of further education. It's an important opportunity for the world community. There are many cynics who would say they're not possible. As always, the world community decides that some things are important and what it is at stake. It's finding a way whereby all of us, in all parts of this globe, can find a way of living together in it in dignity.
U.S. President Donald Trump says the United States will continue to partner African states to boost growth and create jobs for the youth. At a meeting with some African leaders on the sidelines of the 72nd session of the UN General Assembly in New York, President Trump said America will partner Africa to promote prosperity and peace.
President Akufo-Addo, together with 8 other African heads of states, have held talks with U.S. President Donald Trump on U.S.-African relations. The others were President Muhammadu Buhari of Nigeria, President Alassane Ouattara of Cote d'Ivoire, President Jacob Zuma of South Africa, President Macky Sall of Senegal. The others are President Alpha Conde of Guinea, who is also chairperson of the African Union, President Yoweri Museveni of Uganda, and President Hage Geingob of Namibia. President Donald Trump noted his administration is committed to fostering opportunities for job creation in both Africa and the United States.
In this room, I see partners for promoting prosperity and peace on a range of economic, humanitarian, and security issues. We hope to extend our economic partnerships with countries who are committed to self-reliance and to fostering opportunities for job creation in both Africa and the United States. Africa has tremendous business potential. I have so many friends going to your countries trying to get rich.
He reiterated the commitment of the United States to partner with countries and organizations like the African Union to prevent the spread of terrorism and to respond to humanitarian crises.
I commend your troops currently serving in the field, very brave. Terrorist groups such as ISIS, Al-Shabaab, Boko Haram, and Al-Qaeda also threaten African peace. The United States is proud to work with you to eradicate terrorist safe havens, to cut off their finances, and to discredit their depraved ideology.
On the issue of North Korea, President Trump urged all nations to stand together and be accountable in implementing United Nations sanctions and resolutions. President Alpha Conde, who spoke on behalf of the African presidents and the African Union, noted that the 21st century will see Africa take its rightful place on the world stage.
Back home in Ghana, the National Democratic Congress has partly blamed the party's 2016 electoral defeat on its biometric membership register. Addressing supporters after the party's unity walk in Accra, the Greater Accra Regional Chairman of the party, Joseph Adekoka, announced plans to scrap it to pave way for re-registration.
The National Democratic Congress, prior to the 2016 general elections, commenced the registration of its members through a biometric system targeting to capture about 1.5 million members of the party. It will be recalled some NDC members complained that some non-NDC members took advantage of the biometric registration to be captured on the NDC's voters database. Addressing party supporters after the walk, Greater Accra Regional Chairman of the NDC, Adekoka, announced the scrapping of the biometric membership.
We are now going to ensure that the biometric registration, which was our downfall, is going to be scrapped and a better system put in place so that the true NDC people will be identified for us to organize the party.
National Chairman of the party, Kofi Potofi, disclosed the party will re-register its members before embarking on internal elections.
The national executives will give you a program that will show you when exactly the branch reorganization and re-registration of our party members will happen. We are going to re-register everybody.
The Greater Accra Regional Campaign Coordinator in the 2016 election, Sylvester Mensah, welcomed the decision by the executives.
And that's it for the news this morning. Handing over to Amma Bright and Johnny.
Charlie, you have presidential potential. Yeah, I mean, so would consider you. For,
except that he's below the age, so he will need to.
Yeah, we'll wait, but we'll groom you. You have the potential.
I'll take grooming from Bright.
That's the whole point. No.
I'll take it from
Bright will be older when you turn 40.
No,
I'll be in charge.
He started already.
The roadmap will be
the counseling sessions. If you need votes, go to this particular party.
But I'm not seeing a lot of.
Right now, we started a witch catching, so we'll move to
but AJ, I mean, you like watching, don't you?
I love watching.
Yeah, this is how your wele is carried to the watch seller, to the market. First of all, it's bent with ties, car ties, and then it's packed onto abosuka and macho like this with some tarpaulin. You don't know where the tarpaulin comes from, how dirty it is, but it's exposed to the atmosphere and everything. Yeah. And according to the FDA's own rules, this must be in a cold van from an abattoir and taken to the cold store. So the laws are there, but the laws don't work. And I'm sure Amma knows about microbacteria and everything. Yeah. Amma, you want to tell us?
No, a lecture series on women.
All right.
Yeah, Amma, please. So please help us. Microbiology.
What is driving? But Johnny, I also see one that is exciting. The Keta school boys. There's another one that is dried.
Yeah.
And you can use it to prepare banku.
Exactly.
If you do pepper and tomatoes and you burn and use it, it's quite tasty. Yeah. I see them dry the fish on the pavement in front of the Bukum Sports Arena, on the left and right there, and it's there.
You know that area,
and it's left overnight.
Yeah.
So when you're driving late past there, you see it's there. You can even stop and pee on it because you might not notice. Yes, you might not notice it's someone's useful thing.
I hope you haven't done that before.
No, I haven't done that.
But you're suggesting that somebody could have done it.
Yes, it's possible.
The fact that he's thought it means it's possible.
Yes, it's possible because, I mean, that place
it's just there,
open. There are no lights there.
And you know the Lavender Hill is closer to the
very close. So
the Kole is there. The
anyway, guys, that's not for people's meals for this morning. They've already prepared it.
I'm trying to do one this
So if you go to buy your watch it this morning, you may just be getting one of these wele and
forget wele and buy egg.
The inspirational thing is that this trip it is not about people standing on it, because at other times you find people actually standing on it with their sweaty bodies.
Okay, all right. Anthony Jackson, good morning once again.
Say wele. Let's check out what's on our podcast now. Not to ruin your appetite, but this is the fact. This is where we are. FDA, good morning to you, and thank you very much for leaving us to be on our own. When you call them, they will tell you it is a shared responsibility. So should I go and stop the driver who is riding my wheelie like that and tell him, oh, please, don't do that to the wheelie. Don't do that to the wheelie. Anyway, well, 3news.com says NDC embarks on re-registration of members at 1 Ghana cedi per month. They want to see who the real members are, and then so they can register them.
That's a lot of money.
Yes, that's a lot of money. 1 Ghana cedis per month. If you have 4 million members, Charlie, that's cool though, yeah? No, political party funding. Ghana named final squad for FIFA Under-17 World Cup. Then the boys are. They play better than the Black Stars, all right?
Oh, well. They have potential, if they keep it up.
I think that it was the Under-17 that, was it Under-17 or 23 that brought Adia and...
They graduated from there to the...
They won the World Cup.
Let's see how they perform in India when they went to the last African Cup tournament. We rated them, but we hope they will do better.
Of course, sure. Let's check out now. Ghana remains a nuclear weapon-free country. President Akufo-Addo yesterday at the UN General Assembly. Very, very instructive there. And Nana Akufo-Addo demands immediate reforms at UN. Of course, he has said it, but will they budge? That's the next question. Donald Trump is there. Akufo-Addo tells UN General Assembly about free SHS. Okay, yes. But the president didn't speak about some of the challenges. He spoke about those who couldn't get admission, right? But he didn't speak about those who can't find classrooms and are sitting under the trees and the rest. Or maybe it will come in another report.
Maybe. Probably.
Okay, yeah. I'm just checking. Anyway, depriving Nkrumah of Founders Day is a silly idea. That's KB Asante. KB Asante is an old diplomat. And his work closely with Dr. Nkrumah, and this is what he had to say. He says it bluntly.
He does.
He said it's a silly idea. I remember back in the day we called him on 3FM and asked him about this feminism and women activists. Say, I think the women want to be president or they want to be ministers. They should go and contest and win. Why should we go and give them free opportunity to go and what is all that? If they are qualified, they should come and compete. They should not ask us to give them a quota. FIFA investigating Man City and Chelsea.
I think it's in connection with their buying of young players. I don't know what has gone wrong, but wait and see.
So they don't use football age?
I'm not too sure.
Because
I think it's the financial transactions that are involved.
If you were buying young players, I'm sure people will be in jail by now. But if you were playing football, what would be your age? What would be your age?
I'll peg it at 25.
25, No.
But I'm 68 now.
It'll be 24. 24 will be good for you. 24 will be good for you. Then they put you on the center left and you can't write.
But Johnny, have you noticed that? I saw the African leaders at the UN Assembly, and I like the Nigerians. Okay. No matter where they go, they will still wear their the Nigerian thing. Buhari is a Muslim. I saw him wore the Obasanjo is a Christian. He was. But the rest of the African leaders were still in the three-piece suit. So if we talk about stopping us from copying a foreign culture, we see our leaders even at that international level where they're supposed to portray that Africanness. And yet some of them would prefer to wear what the white man told them to wear. Then
somebody's been asking why after 60 years we still have our judges wear wig. Some of it is plastic, some of it is goat or horse. Is it
that the UN would have stopped our president from wearing what he's been wearing of late to the assembly?
I don't think so. I don't think so. It's formal. Who decides what's formal?
That he's been wearing.
Who decides what is formal? I mean, the Nigerians have been wearing that. The South Africans will wear their stuff there. I mean, if you have the females attending, they'll wear their big hat and take it. So, I mean, the president could have. When Nelson Mandela was alive and he used to, he would wear it and he would lock the last button. So
it's definitely acceptable in the UN. So we hope next time.
I'm sure. Mr. President, I'm sure
anyway,
when he gets back.
We're ranting
Nkrumah celebrates. Mahama celebrates Nkrumah finally. Mahama celebrates Nkrumah, founder of Modern Ghana. We'll return after rant and perhaps after news review. I'll show you a letter written by Dr. J.B. Dankwa at the time when Dr. Nkrumah was rallying everybody for the self-government now. It's a letter I chanced upon. I'll share with you, and then you can make your decision as to founder apostrophe S or S apostrophe or founder without apostrophe.
Anyway, but we're ranting on state-owned enterprises and the fact that their CEOs take home some big salaries. I'm wondering, should they be slashed? Are we talking about the slashing of the salaries because we're saying they get more than the president does? I don't know what you think, but let's hear what people on the street think as they rant with George Quainan for this morning.
CEOs of state-owned enterprises cannot earn more than the president. These are clear words coming from the finance minister, Ken Ofori-Atta, which of course government is considering a 75% salary cut to ensure conformity with productivity. Let me chip in some information here. Last year, 18 state-owned enterprises made a loss in excess of 700 million cedis. Regardless, they are still paid their salaries. Then again, if a CEO deserves that salary, why not? So what do you make of this move? Welcoming or long overdue? Join me to Aboso Kain.
The whole Ghana cry probably was say with this kakasia crank a president. But CEOs for no a bit of a contract and a almost sign and a almost year jumano. But Sika Mudino, I know the dodo. Say the buyer my Ghana muha say ya. Not just say no mudino a brew ya dreamy and tiasia so. Obi or my muha say ya. Or no ne salary for a month no 1,500. Obet your water bill, obet your light bill, me utilities bill seeing in our obet ya, and son was saying to your school fees. Meanwhile, CEO Baku a month per sika no tiano, will be 5 years siska. And we had dindodo. It's here pacho omumra from cra.
Your BG best is 70,000. I am brought from Bessine.
Oh, Obia no bia. Yen in a Jumani a war may more ye. So what I say, a moja cron away you. So what's the year Jumama or mine no? I will nucredia mupa. Now see only papa could 700 million a month. Titikanimu. Now, send our person which rain. So what I say,
Obi school. Answer our paper so.
Chief executive Tika Umudi, a 900, a bit 700, a bit 600. Wabra Mompani and Muno and Casacrano, no sign, I Nakasacrano, no crown or 220. And you know, what buys over small mine. And to once I want bass over small mine, dear. Mikos could have managed your miska. Oh, no, I'm not buying the 12 Sika Crano. Fine. Or my man out here. Who say, and you'll be an Benyasa chance, no, I was several position, no, I was several. No. The Yamea Wadum, Nasa never work with school about. That's also by 700 million. She said, send motion for police in Ghana, and Yagana Quakran. Then the whole word of crown, I want to consider the over some on mine. There be on I said, the mate, so I call school crampo. Nasa or no quite 900 million. Nasa the mates were the classmates for no. Obia, some year 24 and 30 in the class. Then, Nasa be a 900. Yes, I can. I got you idea. They say, almost so bad for Mukra. So the only 700, no. What Yabros, why 180?
Onipano, I eat Janis, I can. And you're on a transit. I can't see me pack it away. Tinchancha, mon family. Oh, Debbie. Cocoa board the dear no. And one or didn't pack and see you bet Yammy say. It's on no Obiano. Then no. Obiani and Transi and Casse. Yabet your Casse and I say you. On one Casa or didn't pen or say. Say Naimuntia and Nuntina. I buy this. Omoka say. Opunino. I on the board in the transit. Overcast board no pay out no cast of Begino. Board and income, but board in him. On one influence of no Mutians and Mutiani. Open him said the echoes on it. Must say, and I'm boarding into Minchani Canoa, or Monfano. Or Matias, yes, on Betuan. As at now, opening, say 900 million. And the air better so well, won't to mean cutting half with that. It is as a man transit. On my winning transit. So 70 no way. Woman in transit. The young one say, or mine is a say, I want in ye. Ya want in ye. On mine, yeah, you or mine, and ya want in ye. Offer 900 million, 300 million, you bet you are so me. Well, I'd be Ubetia. What a be Ubetia. Oh, my recipe, Ubetia. And look at the better and infantile because no, 1,000 1,000 cities no ochela be
Osha the entina ma ban e dey sa directive for eba
wo ho say ahokyere wo system no ye hia niam bebre say school free aba say sa ni ye cut cost ama niam aba from the media hwe nkwara no so because ono banifo ya omoji sa amount yi omoji sa na 100 million 700 million no omo school free those time no mo ni free omo ntua taku sa entin sa bre ya nkwara nso aba yi de entin aba na cut cost no sa ne be ya obetimi de ahwe enchiri ma no because it's a system no aye den
ne ye kan na opani bi agibe 900 million 700 million a month yes so or etuane utilities bills nyina ema no yes so manu fuel free no no oye adwuma na ye te ne tax enketenkete no ni sika no ane san de kotua sampany for ne kawo amo aso san betre kira ka say free SHS ya ye enye ye sika no a omu di na akase no se ye kate so ba for mo free SHS na ebe ye
fine encourage bibi answer here sort as bibi answer here ade bia ni wa wo ya kase utimi ya untimi nye omu nyina ntnase no omu nwi hunhu ni asebo sumi anana otwe mani petrol 10 gallons na se 4 gallons no obenya ye mfama no because obi ani wo kwadwuma onfuka wo mo yasama ho ka o ka ne say o man na say ya ma na wasaji 900 million ni ono 1,000 cities or no 1,000 a month edi bi faka eko eye bibia na wo kwa dwuma wa ka chani say na say I mean board of directors ni we na dwuma be no mkoye na aban no so ya yes youth employment ni wan we mrant enye aban dwuma kwakura wo kwakura bi wo ebia ya dwuma adwo me retirement pay adwo me as gracia adwo gracia nyina still yes I'm on appointment
I say can be say Nyansan like experience there is the best teacher and at least it's when you can area tapping into his knowledge
show me ba experience the best teacher e wo ho when na emfa people teacher and share their no many experience now we be fa no as when experience ndi obi no obi wadwuma mu about 20 years in answer nipa ye so as into odi on nipa 20 years for the past 20 years when experience and retirement mine 75 years yes still here in prayer
okay enya eti omo emu na ye hu say president ask slashing salary 10% and ministers be ko see then into we say almost slash kra ye na be hu
say ye enya ense da nya effects no o say da hu de say o say da hu influence ni say ada say ya teso ana ya teso oh ye be hu ada che say executives no mo dos aha ana abai we no obi kai obaya de enti no de o cut cost na percentage bia beba so bia no obedi batu bia ma obi ehun say ye no emfa so ye nya wo so enu ni
semfa so beba de a ende nanka ne papa mu no se ye be hu se ye cut cost no ebi a population no 100 ebi a enipa no be 70% ana omo ye CEOs ni ade wo mu ye cut omo cost ni nyina no sei na ye nya ato ho a ene nka eye pa na se ye nhunu de a ende na ne ye kan kra ye nkeke hu keke.
If government intends to slash the salaries of CEOs of state-owned enterprises, the public wants to know how much is accrued moving forward. Let's know your thoughts about this discussion. Just log on to our social media platforms. On Facebook, it's News on TV3, and on Twitter, it's our News TV3. It came to you from Abosokan here in Accra. Thanks for watching, and keep watching NewDay.
The statesman begins the morning's conversation and says that UN needs urgent reforms. President Nana Akufo-Addo and MPP applauds President for celebrating in Nkrumah. These are some two stories we'll take a closer look at. Gold Street Business Energy Commission to focus on renewable energy. The palaver says hardship. Angry Ghanaians Pamela Akufo-Addo Bawumia over killer petrol hikes, astronomical duty payments, and minority flattens Katie Hammond's Amerideal propaganda. That's the Ghana palaver. The Daily Heritage says stop copying foreign culture and will not depend on foreign aid. The president at the UN Assembly, and BNFT says Will free senior high school trigger measure of universities? These are some of the newspapers I have with me here. My guest to my extreme left is Deputy Communication Director of the NDC, Fred Agbenyo. Fred, good morning.
Good morning, Bryce.
How's your Friday starting?
Well, the rainy is done.
Okay.
Struggle to get out of bed. But we are here.
We're grateful for your time with us. And then to him as a member of parliament for the Lejokuku constituency, a member of the NPP, Dr. Okuboy. Good morning to.
Good morning.
I hope your Friday has started
well
good
too.
Morning. Great. And then the communication director of the CPP, Rauf Kadiri, is also here. Good morning. And I see Dr. Nkrumah right on his chest. Yeah. Hope you are great. Nkrumah's birthday was fun yesterday.
Yeah, in fact, yesterday was very joyous, and we are still in the celebration mood.
Okay.
Because we had 2 reasons to celebrate yesterday. We were celebrating the birthday of Nkrumah, and also Nkrumah as a founder, the only founder of the Republic of Ghana. Yeah.
All right, we'll talk about that later on, but let's start the conversation this morning. The president was at the UN yesterday. He spoke. Most of the media houses, TV3's platforms captured what he said. And we'll take a quick look at some of the issues he raised. Key amongst them are the senior high school program and the fact that he said we will not depend on foreign aid. Briefly. Now, Fred, let me start with you. The president's speech at UN yesterday, key among them for me, the fact that we will not depend on foreign aid, that's the president talking. He said we will not wait for people to come and help us. And also the fact that the senior high school has come to stay and government is committed to sustain it. What do you make of what he said yesterday?
Well, thank you very much, and let me say good morning to our viewers. I think that almost everybody in this country and the world over knows that we have a president who speaks very well, has total control over the Queen's language. When it comes to delivering addresses, he has always demonstrated that confidence and ability to do it and do it well. And so when he was going to speak at the UN General Assembly, some of us were in no doubt that he would be at his best. And I think that from what I'm hearing, he did just what he knows how to do best. But as to the issues he raised in the address and the real happenings on the ground, you wonder if indeed the president meant what he said when he said that we are not going to depend on aid and all that. But as we speak today, we know that they've been running around the whole world trying to look for some money here and there. And it's as if the president says one thing, that's the other. If you remember, before the elections, one of the accusations was that IMF decision that we took to go on IMF program was wrong. They are not going to do anything like that. So now they're going to cancel the program. Recently, when he even met the media, he said they were not going to extend that particular program and that the program was terminating in December. Unfortunately, just by the time he left Flag's house, the Minister of Finance came to tell us that they were extending the program to April. Just a few weeks ago, we are told that now they are extending by another 1 year. And so you wonder what exactly the position of the president is when it comes to issues like this. A few months ago, his vice president and some presidents were in China lobbying the Chinese to come. They are ready to give some of our concessions to them. You know, today they are even taking over some. There are more concessions and trying to give it bauxite concessions. They give it to foreigners to come and mine. So if the president says we are not going to depend on foreign aid and that we are going to rely on ourselves, I don't know exactly what he means by that. I think that it's still too early yet. Let's give him the benefit of the doubt. Maybe there's something else he wants to do that we all don't know. Let's see how that unfolds. He spoke about the free senior high school issue. I can only hope and pray that this issue is not overhyped. We are living in this country, and we all know what is happening. You know, today you talk to the headmasters. If you go there with your cameras, they'll be unwilling to speak to you. But if you go there quietly, you want to have a conversation with them, they will tell you what is happening. Talk to teachers, talk to executives. But as if we have reduced our civil servants in this country to some kind of zombie people. When projects say move, they move. Say stop, they stop. They know that thing is difficult, it's challenging, sometimes impossible. And yet, because the president has spoken, they have to comply. Let's see how it turns out. We have always maintained that it is doable. That is why the framers of the 1992 Constitution found space in it. And where we depart, that is the methodology and the approach, how you go about it. We have argued that, can we do it progressively? Can we put the necessary mechanisms in place so it doesn't create any problem for anybody? They said no, we are announcing it today, and starting it today. As we speak, they have released only 20% of the money that the people need for the term to them. I don't know when they are going to release the rest of the money for them to run. The schools are already in section. I don't know how they are feeding the day students. Some of the pictures I saw on Facebook, I saw them sitting under the tree, you know, holding their bowls and their bags and everything, and they are eating under the tree there. I don't know if that is going to continue. And afternoon comes and it's raining. Where would they be? Now, the time the day students should be eating, doesn't mean contact hours should be suspended. I don't know. So, there are several concerns that we have raised. We have mentioned the issue of sustainability. President is telling us that the program will be funded by money from our natural resources and the oil and all that. We have said these are not very sustainable, especially oil. We don't even determine the quantities that we get. We don't even determine the international pricing and all that. And so we should be looking at a more sustainable, means of funding this particular program. Why we are raising all these concerns, the fact that we've been there before. This is not the first time we are having programs like this. But along the line, they all collapsed. What happened? What is it that was not done right for which they collapsed? Are we going to repeat the same mistakes and eventually get to the same place? For me, that is a concern. So we can always read the president well.
All right.
I have seen other footages of some Ghanaians in America, demonstrating, following some of the team members. And
it seems to have become a normal thing. Anytime we have a president out, you find people demonstrating.
Well, when you throw a ball against the wall, it bounces back to you. I leave it there.
All right. Dr. Kuboy, so can we decide not to depend on foreign aid? And did the president tell the story of the Free Senior High School correctly at the UN Assembly?
Yeah, I think, let me first of all say a very good morning to all your viewers, especially to my brothers and sisters watching from the Lejukugu constituency, also to my brother, and then to Fred.
Miles is not your brother.
Yeah, my brother Fred. His Excellency Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo gave a very powerful speech at the 72nd annual general meeting. He touched on three things which I'd just like to mention briefly. He talked about the SDG 4, Sustainable Development Goal, that's inclusive and equitable education, quality education, and lifelong learning opportunities. And he was convinced by the rollout of the free SHS that a lot of barriers will be brought down and access can be increased. Yeah, the enrollment, the figures show that there's been an increment. It's true that not everybody missed senior high school as a result of finance.
Right.
But a significant proportion were missing out because of financing. And those who were blocked as a result of finance have had some form of relief from this program. You mentioned the policy theme, the core, the important aspect of a policy when you are talking about it. The challenges that come with rollout and all that, you not touching on them does not mean it's perfect. Everybody knows. So that is for us as a country to try and address as we go on. You know what, my brother Fred spoke about the president being very eloquent and all that. It's not just eloquence. When you normally listen to the president, he's very cogent as well. He's able to make his arguments. And we are happy we have a president who sells at that well when it comes to making his arguments. With the IMF, just a short rebuttal. Professor Bobkin at the University of Ghana, he made a statement that was so apt that Ghana had to resit an exams that the NDC failed. We were not only to get a facility from the IMF, it came with performance indicators. There was a deficit ceiling we had to meet. There were revenue targets we had to meet, all part of the program. And the IMF was simple. You can't take a facility, fall short of all the targets and say you are exiting. And because we had to play by the rules, we had to resit, as in extend the program so we could meet the target. So just for Fred to know that we actually resit at exams that unfortunately they could not meet. With the free SHS.
You could not have opted out of the exam.
No, that's why I'm saying that.
Not beneficial.
Yeah, that's why I'm saying that the facility we got, the close to $900 million plus came with a responsibility. You don't go to a bank, take the money and go away. You had, schedules you have to meet. You inherit the person and say that, well, I'm not interested with, in fact, it's a facility I never was proud of, so I'm going away. When your relative or the one you are inheriting has taken the money, you have to perform.
So when you say you would exit, you didn't know all this?
No. We knew of that. But they, as a government, were working hard to meet those targets. And you can only know of their performance when they've exited. They had, how do you call it, the growth rate, the target was about 3.5% of GDP. The NDC was to do an inflation of around 12%. They did 15.4. When it came to the fiscal deficit, cash basis, we did 9.3, commitment 10.9. That was way beyond what the target was for the IMF here. So that was the issue that we had to contend with. We had to resit an exams that the NDC.
Okay, failed. Well explained. Let's go.
So let me land by saying that His Excellency raised a very important issue, that the UN, which professes to be a democratic institution, should let their democracy live to its true meaning by making sure that a few people within the Security Council do not usurp the opinions and
of other members.
So the call for reforms is a very audacious statement, and with the aid, we have to clarify it. The president did not say that we are rejecting aid. He said, "Let me issue I'm not issuing a disclaimer towards aid." I mean, I've read the speech; it's clear. But he admitted that we have had a long and bitter experience of having been giving handouts, and yet we have not moved from the shackles of poverty. So he is very conscious of the fact that that will not be the solution to our problems. We need to liberate ourselves by sticking to prudent economic management and being true when it comes to our policies. That's all that is said.
Okay, yeah. I'm grateful. Let me quickly welcome legal practitioner Bobby Bansi. Good morning.
Good morning.
Hope you're doing great.
Yes, I'm doing great, and I apologize for coming late. There's been an accident on the motorway involving 4 cars at my junction.
Okay. All right. Thanks for joining us. Kari, let me come to you. We've been talking about the president's speech at the UN. There's for key 2 things that we were taking a look at: the free senior high school policy and the president saying that we will not depend on foreign aid. What is the CPP making of these?
Well, first of all, let me say also a very good morning to my colleagues and to our viewers, and to also add my bite on this particular matter. I think that talking about the free SHS is actually become more obvious than real. That the MPP, at least they made a promise during the election that they wanted to give free senior secondary school education to every Ghanaian, or those at the senior secondary school level. And then they are now somewhat living up to that particular promise that they made. But let's actually also admit that whilst we may want to pat them for living up to their own electoral promise, let's also be very fair to the facts as saying that there are definitely challenges within the system. And when those challenges, are brought to bear, it is never in the interest of the MPP or any other, person in this country to want to witch hunt, poor teachers who actually raise concerns. Because we have also been speaking. I've had the opportunity to speak to some schools, and they have serious challenges. And some of them up to now, they are still waiting for, their grants so that they could admit, more students into the system, and then what have you, and give them the kind of food.
As of today?
Yeah, I'm saying that
has not received its grant.
I am saying that in terms of the feeding grants and then what have you.
Okay.
Yeah, there are schools who have not received it. And then I know that as a matter of fact. But I want to stress, even more important is the fact that it appears that the whole idea of free SHS has actually been marked with overpowering alarm. In the sense that we live in a country where when you go into the 1960 Education Act, education was made free in this country from the lower to the highest level. I mean, from kindergarten to the university. So when people talk about free HSI as if to say that it is actually going to be, that is the first time that we are seeing this thing in this country, I just think that is too much of an exaggeration. But having said this, let me come to look at the aid aspect of it. it is not possible that the MPP can decide to have nothing to do with foreign aid, as the news bulletin captures it, as quoting the president that he said they are not going to have anything to do with foreign aid.
That's not what he said.
Well, I'm just reading the caption, and I'm saying that is not possible. Whether that was what he said or he didn't say that, I'm just trying to make an emphatic statement that certainly cannot be true. The other time I sat here and I made a statement that actually brought a little brawl between myself and the British ambassador. And when he invited me to the British embassy for discussion, I went there. He asked me that, do you have an idea on yearly basis the amount of money we bring into this country to strengthen the judicial system, the health, and the what have you? So when it comes to the matter of aid, I tell you most truly, there is no government in this country that can say that they would have nothing to do with it. And besides, we have to remember that since the days that Ghana took structural adjustment program, which was later reinforced by the economic recovery program, our economy has been built on recommendations of IMF and the World Bank.
I say the president cannot work towards that, getting rid of aid as part of...
As for the intent, you can always state an intention. Okay. But I'm telling you the reality. The reality is that he was talking about performance indices and then what have you. I think that the kind of aid that we now even receive at this point is even more insidious and dangerous, in the sense that they will give you a template. A certain template is going to be framed. And for you to qualify for that aid, you need to make sure that you work yourself into the template. And then at the framing of that template, the interest of the country is not actually what informs the framing of the template. So the CPP, and I have said it here time and again, that we are always opposed to any kind of aid that would have some bearing on your independence, that would actually affect, your independence, your self-determination. So I want to make the point again that aid has come to stay in the politics of this country. And virtually since the 1980s up to now, our economy has been built on aid. And I was reading Moyo Dambisa, this woman, I think she's a Zambian, and she wrote a book. The title of the book is Dead Aid. Yeah, in that book, she made a statement to the effect that, look, there are two things that can destroy a nation. One is gun. You can use gun to destroy a nation. And the next thing is aid. Because the aid will be given to you with conditions which are draconian, with conditions which are hellish, with conditions that you live your whole life and can never meet. So me, truly speaking, I think that the president's presentation was on point. He did very well. But if we are going to put it within the context of reality, in fact, it will suffer greatly.
I'm grateful.
Just a second to read just the paragraph the president spoke about aid. But we are not disclaiming aid, but we do want to discard a mindset of dependency and living on handouts. We want to build a Ghana beyond aid. It is an easier platform on which to build sustainable relationships.
Okay.
This is a statement.
So this is a statement. So it's all right. So he's talking about discarding a mindset.
Yes.
But will his critics say that if you're discarding a mindset and you go chasing aid, are his critics then not legitimate in asking?
It's very simple. He's honest enough to admit that with our current situation, we will not disclaim aid. But that should not be our thinking, that we are going to live all our lives as a country.
Was that the admission in the build-up to the election?
But I started...
He said the money is here.
You see, when you have a president starting to say we are not disclaiming aid, it means he admits the role...
How is it different from the build-up to the election when he said the money is here and then he comes and says we are not disclaiming aid? It's a bit confusing.
Please, free SHS is a policy being paid for, not with aid, but with our own resources. We have a lot of resources. We have maintained that it is not the scarcity of resources that's the problem of this country. It is the prudent use of the resources. And we've rolled out a lot of programs. This is a very significant policy. It's being run by us, not with any foreign aid. But like he said, there are a lot of programs that foreign donors help us to execute. Going into the future, we'll work hard to go off those things. That's what the president is talking about. I don't think any of us wants to live all our lives as a country. We will not like our great-grandchildren to be looking up to the West before they can take a move.
He alluded to that.
Exactly. But for now, our resources and our standing as an economy, we know that aid plays a critical role. Nobody can take it out. But that should not be our future.
Okay. All right. Bobby, let me start with you. The president of the UN yesterday spoke about two key things: the Free Senior High School, and then the fact that this country will not depend on foreign aid. Your initial comments on the president's speech and what you made of it?
Well, I was privileged to have watched the speech live, and there's no doubt that the president is one of the most brilliant orators. I mean, I didn't meet him in practice, but you read the law reports and you hear some of the seniors talk about him. It wasn't surprising that when he took the platform, the podium yesterday at the UN, wherever you were, you would sit and then listen to such a great speech. Now, it's also significant that he decided to limit his speech to three main things: the reforms at the UN, the free SHS, and the need for rethinking of how aid works in Africa. For me, it's about time that we take that beyond rhetoric, just speaking about it. There's no way that the free SHS would go. The free SHS has come to stay. The NPP promised, they have delivered with challenges, as it were. If I had my way, maybe they should have taken 1 more year to plan it out well. But they've promised and they've delivered. Whether we like it or not, there is no policy that begins smoothly. Everywhere in the world, when they want to start something, there are challenges. If the NDC comes to power, or if the CPP comes to power, or if the PNC comes to power, or if the GCPP comes to power, it will be suicidal for any political party outside the NPP to cancel or abolish the free SHS. So whether we like it or not, it has come to stay. Every government is bound or will be bound to continue that policy. As to how they are going to raise the funds and then make sure that it's the hitches that we are experiencing now are reduced, is something beyond.
Do you feel a sense of public officials trying to stop people from talking about the challenges?
I do not think that is necessarily the intention of, if you say public officials, as in those policy makers.
Okay, so media houses want to go to these schools. The headmasters and headmistresses are stopping them from coming there because the issue is about the challenges in there. No, we don't want the public to see there are challenges in there.
I don't think that, because I've heard some of these headmistresses or headmasters talk about these challenges, as it were. You see, every institution or every framework of governance has a procedure for reporting challenges. For instance, this TV3 institution, if you have a challenge with a technical something here, you do not expect, or your managers do not expect that with the first opportunity you get to speak to an outsider when it to go public, you rush there and then say it. I believe that there are systems within the GES, I'm assuming, that if a headmaster has problems with desk or with something, you should report first. Because I remember I had one headmistress, myself, on one of the news stations. She was complaining about lack of desks and stuff like that. That is why they are charging the students with some fees so that they can accommodate. Now, when the reporter asked her, have you reported it? He said, my sister, you are going too far. Some of these things, we are faced with them now. We must solve them now. And so it's either we take the money or the students come and sit on the floor. Going to report to GES will take a lot of time. It means that the headmistress has not reported to GES. Okay. And so if the GES district officer hears this on the news, it means that he or she will be deemed not to be doing his or her work well. So I don't think that the idea is to gag them, but at least to let them know that there are procedures that must be followed. If there are challenges, use the right channels. The government does not operate as an octopus with hands everywhere. That is why there are systems of reporting. So in as much as there are challenges, some of them should come to the attention of the public by virtue of the media doing their work, as it were. But for headmistresses or headmasters to actually come and speak to these issues when they have first, and that is the caveat, not use the appropriate channels through the GES or the Ministry of Education to have them addressed, I think is very challenging. And it can be interpreted as an attempt to sabotage the system or paint the officials black. Be that as it may, it's a very good thing that we must help with the challenges and then take it through. I also think the punishment with some of them being suspended and removed is a little bit harsh. I think it's a little bit harsh. Because what they are saying is not a lie anyway. It's the truth.
Right. I'm grateful. Let's move on.
Right. Yeah. I think that's just a very quick one. Anybody who sits around this table today and concludes that Ghana of now we have free SHS is only deceiving him or herself. The system that we have in place can best be described as progressively free senior high school. Nobody is saying that it's coming to cancel this program in future, but we need to improve upon the program. If the idea, if the vision is that we want to have free SHS, we need to work towards that. So nobody in favor come and tell us that MPP has introduced free senior secondary school as they promised before the elections. What we are having to do is what they promised us. They didn't tell us that when they come into office, they are going to start with only the first years, and only the first year they are going to feed. They campaign to the second years. They campaign to the third years. Is that what we are seeing today? The challenges, we agree, for every new program, there will be challenges. Nobody is saying that there will not be challenges. Now, this whole idea that a headmaster in a school will need to first report to a secretary supervisor somewhere, to this director somewhere, before it goes through and the problem is solved. We all know the bureaucracy we have in this country. They run the schools. We all attended the schools. We know the problems over there. Where sometimes they have to go and look for their own money to come and feed students. And so if they have a problem and you don't think that the media should go and assist by getting what the problems are, ECHO, the government can really move in to resolve the issue. And you think that by headmaster speaking out, that means that it's sabotaging the program, then so be it. They will keep quiet and they will sit down. It's our children who are there. And then you go back and ask the children after 2 weeks, 3 weeks, and they'll tell what they are facing in the schools. And so this is not an issue. This is not it's not a court. It's not a secret court where things should be hidden from the general public. It's about the children of the general public. And so at all material times, we must know exactly what is happening over there. What is that the government is doing?
Yeah, just
I'm grateful.
Yeah, a minute. Let me say that. Just a minute. Let me say that if my brothers in the NDC, or if anybody admits that free SHS has become free at the first level, but it's not free at the second and third levels, that is an admission which shows some level of honesty. But when you say that it is not free, because the second and third years are not getting, without recognizing that the first years have had it, then it throws some darkness on your genuineness in making the comment. Okay. Now, let me also conclude by saying that the policy is being rolled out in a graduated manner. When our brothers in NDC say it's progressive, they try to insinuate. Please. Let me use the word progressive. But when they say progressive, the insinuation is that it's already been started. But that is true. Good. But if it's been started in the manner we are doing it, why are the second and third years? Why are they asking that we pay for them too? They started with 10,400 students.
So it's been started.
Please, when you start a policy with 10,400 students, compared to somebody who is covering everyone qualified, 450,000 plus, how dare you say that you started? You understand? It was more or less a pilot. Please, please, let me learn. They speak and say that there is no free SHS in Ghana, because the second and third years are not getting it. Without mentioning that the first years are benefiting from policy. Yesterday, I saw a woman who told me, thank you very much. I took my daughter to school, and what you are saying is really true. I didn't pay anything. There are parents in this country, over 400,000 of them, who are grateful to this government for making sure that they've taken care of their bills. And when you don't want to admit that, they will admit it anywhere you go, and that's not going to change the situation.
Okay, I agree. I agree, Brian. That's a very small one. I agree that government has taken up the feeding fee. Government has, please. No, go and check. You see, you don't know all this build up. Go and check the build up. In terms of tuition, Ghana here we don't pay tuition. Government has always paid tuition.
Library fees.
Hold it there. The P.
Uniforms.
Can I make a point? You should keep quiet.
Okay.
Utility bills.
NDC
administration under President Mahama, we took that up. We're paying it.
Yes,
we're paying it.
Okay.
No, they were not. You see,
they were paying for
those who were for first year this year.
Right.
Parents have spent about 3,000.
I want us to live in here. Let me also make a very 30 seconds. Let me also make 30 seconds.
You see, but I seriously have problem with the way the MPP are speaking so much. They have a very louder voice on this whole simple basic work of government. You know that everywhere you go in the world, the first work of government is to govern, and then to give free education to children. That should be the basic policy of government. Anywhere in the world,
even talks.
Anywhere in the world, that should be. Come on. That should be a basic policy.
It's our job, we know.
Now, You drive around town, everywhere you see flamboyant, very big billboards, say free HHS. Then in that case, there are so many government policies that should have. And then during the election,
who is paying for that?
During the election,
is it the government?
Of course, the government. During the election, I came to terms with how much it costs to build a single billboard, and I know from where I am coming from, such billboards are even used to.
You see when Kuma.
All right, well, let's move on. Now, the NPP has commended President Dankwa Akufo-Addo for setting aside September 21 as a day to remember solely the life and enviable achievement of Ghana's first president and leader, Asiedu Dr. Kwame Nkrumah. Yesterday was the day. The Akufo-Addo-led government has come under a barrage of attacks from some critics, suggesting that it is trying to downplay the role of Nkrumah. In a statement signed by the acting general secretary, he indicated that government had rather shown a greater commitment to celebrating Ghana's first president by proposing that Parliament enact a law to enshrine the day in history. The move by government is a departure from what used to be the practice under its predecessor, NEC administration, that resorted to executive fiat to declare the day as a public holiday. That's the story so far. Kadri, let me start with you because you are from the CPP. The CPP says that the very day they win power, that very day, if this August 4th thing is instituted by Parliament, that very day it will be overturned.
Yeah, first of all, I think that when we got that particular news from or communication from the presidency, you know, it wasn't surprising to us at all because we know, given, you know, the fact that the president has always glorified his ancestry and then his parentage. Even in the very recent MPP conference that they went in Cape Coast, he said that I'm a proud son of this, you know, tradition. It was quite understandable. But what we are thinking is that the president is trying to use two of his hands to block the sun, to cover the sun. And we think that that is not going to be possible. And if any gain at all arises from this particular executive decision that the president is taking, it's just going to be a temporary
No, this time he's going to Parliament to have it enshrined.
Yeah, but you would have noticed other progressive forces. And then let me first of all say that when it comes to the issue of Kwame Nkrumah, I think that the CPP, we have a broader front on that. And you saw that yesterday. We enjoyed a great deal of solidarity from the NDC because they actually also are convinced as to the validity of their argument, why they made Kwame Nkrumah's Day, you know, the Founders' Day and what have you. But you see, I want to really talk so much on, or little on just the whole idea. I think that it is actually a vitiation of our history. I think that it is a deliberate, calculated attempt taken by the president and his cohort and people that isn't like him to distort the history of our country. The question I keep on asking is this: what message are we sending to the children of this country? The children that we are giving birth to, what message are we taking to them? Because this day they will hear that this person is the founder and then another day is founders. And when you go into the history, you realize that there can be no founders in our country. There can only be one founder. And yesterday, I was debating with some colleagues on some platform, and one of them was using football allusion. That, for example, if they are playing football, you know, Messi, before he scores the goal, he would need to get passes and what have you from other teammates to score the goal. And I said, yeah, that is true. So when the trophy is won, the glory comes to the whole team. But when Messi is given the golden boot, when Messi is actually, you know, given, you know, the man of the match, I ask a question: does the honor go to the whole team or it goes specifically to Messi? It definitely goes specifically to Messi. So this is the situation that we are having today. And I think that what is currently happening in Ghana is a clear reflection of what happened in Ghana in the 1950s. And I keep some parliamentary answers here. The debates that went on in Parliament. And I can say without any fear of contradiction that this particular endeavor of the president is mischievous. And we progressives will resist it any day, any time. We know that he has a field day. He can actually take the decision that he wants to take because he wields executive authority of the state and enjoys parliamentary majority. But this decision, as we have said, is going to be challenged and reversed should the CPP or any progressive. And the NDC made it very clear, you know, promise yesterday that when they come, they are going to reverse it. And I think that the president should actually, I thought he would have used the office of the presidency, you know, to help unite the country. But by this particular decision, what the president has succeeded in doing is that he has sharply divided the society again. And I think it is not going to put him on the good side of history. So that is what I would want to say. Maybe
for your initial comments.
All right. If Doc comes in, I'll come
Bobby,
back.
Let me come to you. Let me come to you. Is this debate necessary at this time of our development?
I think it's much ado about nothing, honestly. Not to downplay the role of any person that has contributed in our independence. Definitely, I am of the opinion that a country or no country can be founded by one single person. Every country at every point in time has a leader. And so if at independence, Kwame Nkrumah was our leader, we give him that accolade. But I, in the first place, did not believe it was necessary at this time of our development to set aside one day that we are celebrating Kwame Nkrumah's life. In the first place, I didn't believe in that. In the same vein, I also do not believe that it is necessary to set aside August 4th as a day to celebrate some group of people that we are calling founders. Obviously, my belief for resisting the 21st September was founded on the basis that there were two schools of thought at the time of independence. Now, celebrating one day would mean that you are supporting one school of thought. When the other side, that other tradition also comes to power, the NPP had always made it clear that they were always going to find a way of celebrating August 4th. They have always made it clear. And so then NDC institutionalizing 21st September were giving MPP the arms to institutionalize 4th August. For me, the two dates are much ado about nothing. And this is my reason. When Chairman Rawlings made June 4th a public holiday, it served the purpose. And the purpose was to celebrate the revolutionary. As of today, it's not been a holiday since 2000. Since the year 2000. It's no longer been a holiday. But every year since the year 2000, those who believed in that revolution, they gather and they celebrate it. They have lectures and stuff. Nobody stops them. Why can't we allow those who believe that it is worth celebrating Nkrumah's birthday to have their own independence? It's freedom of association in our constitution. I cannot be bound to celebrate a day for Nkrumah, his birthday. I can neither be bound to celebrate the birthday of the UGCC, as it were, or the members of the UGCC. I believe that the end of all these struggles, UGCC struggle, CPP struggle, resulted in March 6th, 1957. 6th March 1957. So if we would have two competing schools of thought, both trying to outdo each other in terms of the role that they played in the independence struggle, why don't we relegate these days representing these school of thoughts in the background and celebrate the 6th March?
Will anybody be right in arguing that there were some group of people who were against 6th March, and so if we're celebrating 6th March, we should look at the one who was in front of the battle?
No, but the 6th March was a day not chosen by one person. 6th March was a day not chosen by one person. My little history that I learned, when we were in school, was that 6th March was actually the day of the Bond of 1844, which is recognized as the first or the legal authority that gave the British the right to govern us. That Bond of 1844 was on the 6th of March. And so choosing the 6th of March was only, okay, if that day was when the British had the legal authority to colonize us, it's only fair that it is that day that we declare independence. Be that as it may, my brother has access to the parliamentary hazards. I don't know if it includes the debates on choosing the day, but I do not think that 6th March was imposed on somebody. Remember, Kwame Nkrumah had been prime minister since 1951, a leader of government business. It means that there was a parliament before independence. And so even choosing that day, I'm assuming, would have not been an executive decision. It would have been something that would have been discussed.
So there was somebody who led the struggle to 6th March?
No, there were people who have led the struggles to independence.
There was no leader?
No, there was a leader of a political party that had a majority in parliament at that time. He was the leader of government business at that time. If the UGCC or any of those splinter political parties in Ghana at that time had won independence, had won the election that time, automatically the leader would have become the president. So it was an issue of who won the election at that time.
Okay.
And automatically that person became the leader of Ghana at the time of independence. So I think that if there is confusion or there will be division as to whether we should celebrate August 4th, and if NDC comes to power or CPP comes to power or any of these Nkrumah's parties come to power, they are going to reverse the decision to celebrate August 4th. And if, as it were, a very strong-willed Dankwa Buzia tradition person comes to power, he may decide to reverse September 21st. Nobody can ever reverse 6th March. So why don't we stick to the 6th March and concentrate on the things that we have achieved or we can achieve as an independent country?
Okay, I'll bring you in. But Dr. Koboy,
it's, you know, let me start with a short.
You see, why is the president interested in doing this?
But let me start with just a short paragraph. We have, listen, I'll tell you who said this. This on 4th August 1947, when Nkrumah was not in this country. Listen, we have come from all the corners of this country, come to Salt Pond for a specific purpose, for a decision. We have come to take a decision whether our country and people are any longer to tolerate a system of government under which those who are in control of government are not under the control of those who are governed. We must have here and now, if we are to be governed, a new kind of freedom, a Gold Coast freedom, a Gold Coast liberty. We left our homes in Ghana and came down here to build for ourselves a new home. Now, speaking of freedom and self-rule, this was 47 when Nkrumah was not in this country. This is Dankwa's speech when Salt Pond, 4th August.
What were they fighting for?
UGC was launched.
What were they fighting for?
They were fighting for self-rule. No. Liberation from imperialism.
No.
Listen, no.
But
it was clear. Did you listen to the speech?
I think at that point, those who gathered in Salt were fighting for certain opportunities.
No, but listen, please. No, please.
I don't want us to go there.
No, but please. But what I read was clear. Let me, please. I'm reading English. Please. We have, listen, this English. We must have here and now, if we are to be governed, a new kind of freedom, a Gold Coast freedom, a Gold Coast liberty. We left our homes in Ghana and came down here to build for ourselves a new home. There's one thing we brought with us from ancient Ghana. We brought with us our ancient freedom. Today, the safety of that freedom is threatened, has been continuously threatened for 100 years since a bond of 1844. The time has come for a decision. All this was about what?
So they were fighting for self-rule.
But I read English. This is self-rule.
Okay.
Please, I'm coming.
Viewers know what you're talking about.
You know what?
So you go ahead.
My brother.
But I am insisting that these were people who had gathered and were asking for specific opportunities.
Yeah.
But you go on. If you said you were fighting for self-rule.
And let's be clear. Osajifo Dr. Nkrumah, the efforts and his contribution cannot be discounted. And we must also be honest enough not to obliterate those he teamed and worked with when it comes to the glory of working for independence. Now, some few years ago, President Mills, he's a self-confessed Nkrumahist. President Mills. A self-confessed. He had attended the Ideological Institute, Kwame Nkrumah. No problem. Unana attended. Yes, it's also a fact. Yes, it's a fact. And I've gladly admitted that.
Right.
When he had the opportunity to want to make a Founders Day, instead of broadening the consultation, he used an executive instrument, which means that he said, as a president, I'm making this day. And like my brother said, we should be honest people. Every time the discussion comes, people move along ideological lines. The Dankwa Buziais are here, the socialists are here. And President Mills, being a self-confessed Nkrumah and socialist, decided not even to go to parliament and listen to any contribution arguments, use an executive instrument. And this is the catch. President Nana has the opportunity to use an executive instrument to undo 21st September. But what did he do? He said, leave it as it is. Make it a memorial in honor of this man who did a wonderful job for this country.
That's watering it down.
No, please, that's your interpretation. Please.
And memorial.
Yeah, good.
Dr. Poko, it's
it's your interpretation.
A founder and a day to remember somebody. But not two different.
No problem.
A founder. Founders Day is certainly bigger than a Memorial Day.
The Founders Day, good. And let me make this very important point. And please listen. Because you know the Founders Day is going to bind the whole country, you should have sought broad consultation. Don't you get it? I'm saying a president used an executive instrument. Do you know what it means? He did not get the opinion of anybody included. They were in power and they made it a Founders Day. Another gentleman is in power, the current president. He has the authority like you had and created a Founders Day. That, like you said, 6th March is all of us. Founders Day is a creation of President Mills. May he so rest in peace. He used an executive instrument. What is Nana doing? He could have undone. Please listen. Look, President Kufuor with a pen could have made 21st not a holiday. Are you aware? Do you know that? Do you know he could have made it not a holiday?
Of course he has.
But what has he decided to do? You are calling it watering down. But the first creation, which is Founders Day, is not a creation of the whole country. It was an executive instrument by a sitting president.
The president doesn't take decisions on behalf of the country.
No.
So how do you mean by not the whole country?
How come you so gladly appreciate and accept what President Mills created with an executive instrument, but you have a contention with what President Nado is doing? So no, please. So what I'm saying is that, because you want all of us to accept whether it's founders with apostrophe here or there, that's why you should have sought broad consultation. But I'm reminding you that the president, and they are socialists. They claim to be socialists. So, and President Mills is an Nkrumahist. So he had an ideological position and created a day for Nkrumah. Nana Addo has done one thing. He said, I am honest enough to know that this man deserves a day for himself. But I'm also genuine enough to know that Nkrumah did not plant, water, and reap the fruits. People work. And do you accept it's a fact that Nkrumah was invited by the UGCC? Is that a fact?
It is.
It's a fact. So how come that a group that was not working on real estate development, or were not a church preaching salvation, but looking at a way to achieve self-rule, invites a man who they acknowledge to have some special advantages? He has energy, he's very knowledgeable, he's energetic, and he came to do just that. But along the line, they had differences. Do you consider them as traitors because they disagreed on the method and modules to achieve independence? You cannot say so. Free SHS, my brothers here have had problems with the modules we are adopting, but they always remind you that, yes, they always remind you that we are not against free SHS. NHIS, they worked out of parliament, but they said they had problems with the methodology. So please, don't let us confuse the two. Disagreeing with the method does not mean you are against independence. If people dedicated their lives to the extent of inviting you and come, let's fight, you came to team up with them, disagreed at the point, how can you say, and let me tell you, the fact that the NDC yesterday said they will resist any attempt to elevate Dankwa tells you of one thing, that they have a prejudice. There is every effort to make sure that he is not mentioned at all, but the history is there. This is my position. Let me land.
Is Dankwa not in our books?
Good. Let me land.
And I think one of our currencies has their hand.
I know. So is President Kuma not on our currency, in our history, on our ships, and on our oil rigs, on tech? President,
so all those he fought the battle with, all of them should be all over.
So let me land with my position. Let me say something. I'll say only two things.
Oh,
there are some land. I'm landing with two things. You know what? See,
Bedema is missing here.
I know.
It's
good you've mentioned all this. Let our children and grandchildren read the events, the characters, and interpret for them the roles they play and the level of significance. Don't let a president determine with an executive instrument who should be elevated above others or who should be brought down. And please, mentioning mentioning other people as having contributed to our independence does not vitiate, does not bring down the role that Nkrumah played. And until we unite as to the dynamics of our history, we will struggle to construct this country's future.
I see. John, before you come in, Fred, you come in because you have not spoken on this quickly before John will come in.
Right. I am not surprised about all that my brother is doing this morning. I am not surprised about what is happening in our country today. The position of the Dankwa Abuja tradition and their attitude towards anything outside of Dr. Kwame. I'm not surprised. Anybody who has studied the history of this country would have realized that what they are doing today is what their fathers did. It's the same thing that they are continuing. Now, this whole argument that Nkrumah was invited by the UGCC, Nkrumah was not sleeping in America or in the United Kingdom doing nothing. Can I make a point? Nkrumah was not sleeping, and it must. Let me point. Oh, please.
You are because of time.
Dankwa, somebody also invited Dankwa to come and join UGCC. Dankwa was not the one that was forming UGCC. When Park Ground and his, you see, he was holding there. Dankwa was invited. Just as Nkrumah was invited. And I think that you made a significant point that all of us must take notice of. That before independence, all the various groupings and vehicles that were formed, they were specific
vehicles that were created for specific purpose. Aboriginal Right Protection Society were for the land bill, that the British were passing laws to take over our lands. So that particular vehicle was used to fight that particular issue. The UGCs that you are talking about today, go and check park grants. At the time they were forming UGCC, the motive, the idea was not to win independence for this country.
That's not true.
That was not the motive. That was not the motive. He was a businessman. Can I land?
That is your interpretation of history.
Oh, please. He was a businessman. He was not a politician. He was not a lawyer. The founder of the UGC that we are talking about today, he was not. It was his business interest we were protecting.
No, that is
that I started putting. Oh, that is the truth. You see. Oh, please. Can you? When you were talking, I kept quiet. When you were talking, I kept quiet. This is the truth. Now you brought Dr. Kwame Nkrumah in. At the time Nkrumah arrived in this country, the UGC had only 3 branches. The geographical country that we have today never existed. It never existed today. In fact, Upper East, Upper West, Northern Region, Trans-Togoland were never part of the Gold Coast. At the time Nkrumah was making a move for us to have independence in this country, you were sending letters to UK asking for a federal state. You were never talking about unitary states. To the extent that when Nkrumah was making all the moves for us to become independent, you were sending letters to the Queen of England telling that Nkrumah is too ambitious. Ghana is not yet ready for independence. They should not grant us the independence. This man wins election. Some of these same actors you want us to celebrate today joined the CIA to get Nkrumah's administration overthrown in 1966.
So they are criminals.
When they got them overthrown in the UP tradition, the first time they took over office in this country, they went to the same parliament Eastern Anado is trying to go today. And laws were passed in parliament to make it a criminal offense to be seen even in Nkrumah's picture or to mention his name. That is what you did. Can you allow me to land? Can you allow me to land?
Allow him.
Why?
Please allow him.
If you were Nkrumah, if you were in the shoes of if you were in the shoes of Dr. Nkrumah and at independent, people were attacking your lives, people want to kill you, people were even planting bombs. And killing young people. You don't want him to protect himself. You don't want him to protect his government.
So you jail them.
Why? But it's part of our governance. You don't distract me. Let me just don't distract me. Don't distract me, please. Don't distract me. Let me continue what I'm saying. So the hatred for several Dr. Kwame Nkrumah, the hatred for the man didn't begin today.
The hatred.
What we are seeing today, it is not new. And we have said, and we will maintain, you can go to parliament, you can go to wherever you want to go under the sun, pass whatever law. Ask him. You are in government today. Yesterday was the so-called Memorial Day of Nkrumah. What did you do as a government to remember that day? Tell us one thing you did as a government to remember the day. So they'll just create it over there and it ends there. Why do we have Independence Day? On Independence Day, we'll remember all the persons, the poor persons whose name are not even mentioned. The chiefs and the rest. Why do we have a Republican Day? Hold it there. Why do you have a Republican Day? Or several Dr. Kwame Nkrumah that you are talking about today, that man today is even bigger than the nation Ghana alone. This is a man who has been recognized by the whole world.
Okay, friend, rapper.
As the African of the millennium.
Some seconds, but
and so let me just run out by saying that today you have the power. The president of the executive authority, majority of parliament is by his side. Whatever he chooses to do, nobody can stop him.
Like he did.
President Mills used an executive power to take the decision because the Constitution of the Republic of Ghana allows him as the executive president to exercise executive power. If President Nado chooses to go to parliament, just as they did in 1969, to even go and pass a new law that henceforth nobody should mention Nkrumah's name again, henceforth nobody should celebrate Nkrumah again, he can do it. But history will judge us that one day we shall reverse it.
I'm grateful. Johnny, come in. Let's see what people are saying about this Nkrumah thing quickly.
It's raining outside, and here in the studio it's raining thoughts and words. But I says, please, Johnny, I want to ask if the free SHS is a policy or what? Because with the little education I have, I know a policy must be backed by a law and must have gone through Parliament, or that's what you say. So let's hold on with the messages. Okay, so my president cannot change who Nkrumah is in our minds, Africa and the world. What a trivial government involved in triviality from Bamakela. And while let Okoboy know that if he knows how to sew, there's a problem at your doorstep. He must find solution to it. Students at Presekla need desk and boards and classroom to study under their so-called free SHS. Desmond from Joko is telling us, says, tell Okoboy, Dr. Okoboy, that the president is only eloquent, especially with the Cockney accent. But to say he is always on point is not true. Each time he speaks, I'm on tenterhooks. having in mind the January 7th inauguration disgrace. Big boy and so many. Good morning, TV3. God bless you guys for the good work you're doing for the nation. Please, if I may ask, why is the president? Why did the president tell the UN about free SHS? It means he can manage the affairs of this country, and he wants an assistance from the UN. Please, my sister was denied free SHS because she completed last year. Well, Timothy Chan, Tema Committee 1. I'm really having problems with the implementation of the so-called free SHS. If the basis of education is not free, if the basic education is not free, how can secondary education be made free? So many different fees are paid at the JHS level. And Francis in Boku, JB Sawam said NDC should have rather gone to Asumje Park to clear the weeds rather than the so-called walk. The late President Mills is sad wherever he is. Cheap opposition, you say. Good morning. What is this hypocrisy about? The NDC says former President, His Excellency Jerry Rawlings, is not the founder of their party. So for me, I'm surprised about their fixated attitude with this Nkrumah being the founder of Ghana. I am for Founders Day. Nanayao. I am really having problems with the... Okay, so from Pajo of Big Shoes near Kwada, so Onion Market says, I can't think far. I think the NDC should have read the pledge again. Our heritage won for us through the blood and toil of our fathers, not through the blood and toil of our father. Aden Krana NDC for Bonsa. Hi to the finance minister must understand that if the CEO's salaries are reduced by 75% just to ensure that nobody earns more than the president, it will affect every public or civil servant. For instance, if the CEO's salaries are reduced, they will come to the salary range of other staff categories. Does the minister expect the CEOs to take the same salaries with those below him? If the government cannot find money for free SHS, they should reduce the number of ministers, reduce the end of service benefit for all MPs. Jake in Techiman. And good morning. MPP is saying we don't need aid, but yet they have quickly gone for it. Please, we are tired of this Kwani game. Ajwa, good morning. All is not necessary. The celebration of Dr. Nkrumah's birthday, but as a leader, I know who was supposed to, who supported him to win independence and New Ghana from Gold Coast. Why are we taunting Nanado for free SHL program instead of all MPP leaders? IB wants to know. My name is Jagos, and from Sawam. May this Founders Day mark all the good work Dr. Nkrumah did for us and all the sacrifices made for his country, including sacrificing his own life to gain independence for this great nation. In fact, Dr. Nkrumah, may God bless you everywhere you are. Okay, family and friends government, you say, of Nanado must be giving the exit come 2020. Fuel increment is extremely compounding the hardships we are going through, but they don't seem to care. 2020 elections is not 20 years duration. Alaji Willie P. in the Fiekuma. Finally, good morning TV3. It's raining at Teshi. Student can't go to school because of bad roads. Please tell Okoboy to do something about it. He promised that and he has come to power, so he should fix our road. Okoboy, doctor, it is raining. You have 3. They said 1, it is raining. Your roads are bad. You promised. You have not fixed it. You are here talking, Dr. Kwame.
Let me take the opportunity. No, you can't take the opportunity.
Hold on. There were 3 issues. There was the roads one. Second one about La Presec. They don't have board, classroom, chalk, and everything. They say you are talking, Doctor.
First of all, the roads. Let me thank the roads minister. I was in Honorable Cabo and Amakwata. No, I was with them. They are working on. No, I'm just acknowledging the effort. They are working on.
There's a particular road that is very
key in front of the hospital.
Yeah, in front of the hospital. That road must be free.
They call it the Teshi Link. The roads ministry. The roads ministry is putting a package to make sure contractor goes to site to work. So let's thank the minister. So that
road minister, we see the package. All right, can they wrap up for me on this one?
Yeah, you see, first of all, let me start by fundamentally disagreeing with what Bobby has said. The analysis and the submission that you made, all of them, I stand to disagree with you fundamentally. But now I want to make some issues very clear. You know, he quoted a statement from J.B. Dankwa in 1947 before Nkrumah came to Ghana.
I didn't quote it.
No. I'm talking about Dr. Okubo. And I also want to read a statement from J.B. Dankwa, and this statement was actually on 10th. I'm coming. It was a letter. Quickly. It was actually on 10th October 1951. And then the letter goes this way. And this was a letter that J.B. Dankwa wrote to one of the colonial, secretaries. And this is what he said. Dear, you want to read it?
Yeah.
Well, okay, read it.
Okay, the import of the letter, then we can go because we have to read it.
No, read it. No, let him read.
Because of time.
No, he will read. Let's hear.
So the font is quite blurry.
Better, yeah. Let him read. No, please, let him read. Yeah.
Gentlemen,
this title has been. No.
You see, why did you give that?
Gentlemen, I'm grateful. I'm wrapping up the show. I am so grateful. We have read this letter. Fred Agbenyo is a Deputy Director, Communications of the NDC. Bobby Banson is a legal practitioner. The Member of Parliament for the Lejokuku constituency, Dr. Bernardo Kuboy, and the Communication Director of the CPP, Ralph Kadiri. Gentlemen, grateful for your Friday morning. Those of you who sent in your comment, we are grateful. This letter is already here. We'll read it before we end the show. Stay with us. We have sports after this.
Hi, good morning. It's time to bring you all the latest in the world of sports right here on, NewDay. My name is Thierry Nyan. Now we start off with Ghana because they have qualified for the final of the Wafu Cup final after beating Niger by 2-0 in the semi-final clash. Goals from Stephen Safo and Kwame Kizito handed Max Okunedu's side the vital victory to march on to the final stage of the competition. A header from Kwame Kizito gave Ghana the cushion to push on for more goals in the game, and tapping duly in the second half from Samuel or Stephen Safo wrapped up the win. Ghana will now face Nigeria in the final. So how exactly did Nigeria arrive here in the final? They beat Benin by 1-0 in the other semi-final clash to make it. A first half goal from Rabiu Ali handed Nigeria the 1-0 win over a 10-man Benin. So, of course, now it means that it's going to be Ghana Black Stars against Nigeria Super Eagles. Benin and Niger would have to fight for something else, but never the gold. Away from that, let's go straight to some other news remaining on the African continent. CAF President Ahmad has arrived in Ghana together with his entire executive committee members in the continent for a CAF Exco meeting to deliberate on issues that will aid improvement of African football. He was welcomed by Kwesi Nyantechi and some GFA top officials.
We are privileged to have him in Ghana. This is the first visit of the CAF president to Ghana since he was elected in March this year.
I'd like to thank you to be here. It shows the interest for the football, the respect for our African Football Confederation, and as the president of Ghana Football Association and my vice president of executive committee of CAF told we are here for the executive committee meeting. As you know, we try to share this meeting to go to see what happened in Africa because CAF is for Africa. That you see that the meeting of the executive committee is held on every country in Africa. So we have a big agenda for this meeting, and I mean we are going to take a big decision here in Ghana, and we are happy to be here to discuss about the future of football because Ghana is a very big nation in general in Africa, with a very big democracy in Africa, so it helps us maybe to go to take everything behind the democracy. Thank you very much.
All right, so still in the African continent, but we focus on Sierra Leone because the IFA president, Isha Johansson, has been charged with abuse of office and misuse of public funds by the country's anti-corruption commission. Johansson has been indicted on 6 counts as a Sierra Leone FA Secretary General Chris Kamara. Now, the only female FA chief across Africa has denied the charges and showed determination to continue in her office, as well as announce her intention, to make sure that her good works in the country continue.
I've never heard that, and I really don't spend time listening to the radio or flicking through the newspapers or social media, that kind of stuff. I don't. I'm very focused as to what it is that I'm doing. So if they do have a strong opinion against me, one way or the other, I don't know. And I certainly do not spend any time trying to listen to what people have got to say, particularly about me, because you can't always like everybody, at the end of the day. And I say this, that if I wanted to be liked, I'd be in a beauty pageant or a fashion show, but that's not what I'm here for. I'm here to get a job done within 4 years, and what I'm able to do, I do it within the shortest possible time, given the constraints that I have. And I would like to extend that term. I have on my mind and on my shoulders now the responsibility to play an integral part, a very vital part in shaping women's football in the African continent. So I really have no time to sit down and be pondering over whether people like me or not. It's really getting the job done.
For someone who has, an arrest warrant hanging around her neck, she seems very composed and calm. She knows that very much well so she cannot return to Sierra Leone as it stands, because if she gets there, there is an order from the state that she should be arrested because of some corruption charges. But we'll move away from that. We'll definitely keep an eye on that and bring you some developments. We go straight to England. Chelsea have agreed terms with Atletico Madrid for the transfer of striker Diego Costa back to the Spanish club. The move, which will be completed in January, is subject to the agreement of personal terms and a medical. Atletico said the 28-year-old who left the club to join Chelsea in 2014 would have a medical in the next few days. Spain international Costa has not played for the Blues since the end of last season, and spent much of August in his native hometown Lagato in Brazil. He cannot be registered as a player for the La Liga outfit until January, when the club's transfer window ban comes to an end. The two teams play each other next Wednesday in the Champions League. It makes it for a very, very tasty encounter. But he scored 58 goals in 120 appearances for Chelsea, including 20 in the Premier League last season, as Chelsea won the title. It tells you the kind of player they are letting go. There's a brief lesson there. Whoever you are not indispensable, whichever team you play for. And Diego Costa should know that. He's been holding the team to ransom, and the team have acted fast and have actually earned over £20 million over the last amount that was mentioned in the transfer window, should he have left in the summer. Anyway, to Manchester United, that's Chelsea's direct rivals for the title this season. Their chief, Ed Woodward, expects Facebook and Amazon to enter the mix when the next Premier League TV rights deal is negotiated later this year. Earlier this month, Facebook failed with a £445 million bid for digital rights in the Indian Premier League auction. Now, Amazon paid £37 million to live stream the Thursday, 10-night NFL games this season. In the long-term deal they announced earlier this month, the Football League said that from next season, major broadcast partner Sky plus, clubs themselves could live stream any midweek match. And it looks as if Facebook and Amazon would want to take advantage of all of that. What this means to the ordinary viewer out there is that if you are subscribed to anything on Facebook and Amazon, you can watch some live Premier League games. Big money mentioned abroad. My name is Thierry, and we'll bring you some more sports news later right here on TV3. Enjoy your day.
Welcome back. So we're going to discuss health, or in a lighter note, because of course when we talk about health, we don't usually tie it in with the churches, but of course ICGC Joy Temple is celebrating its 10th anniversary, and in doing so they are launching a medical screening tomorrow, and they're inviting you and I. But let's talk more about it with Mr. Yao Asari. He's the president of the Joy Medical team from ICGC Joy Temple. I also have Mr. Samuel Himen. He's the patron of Joy Medical Team. And then Nana Mensah. She's the vice president for the Joy Medical Team. Welcome, gentlemen and ladies. So let's talk a little more about your medical screening tomorrow. What exactly is your target? What are you looking at doing on that day?
Tomorrow we are expecting over 3,000 people to come to Asiedu-Dartey Joy Temple to have various screenings done. And then we're going to have a lot, but we're having dental screening, treatment. So if you have caca,
as it's called,
you can just come in. We have it filled or extracted. We give free medicine, and then a lot of things. And then we are going to have eye screening as well. It's not just screening. We are going to give free glasses as well as medications for eye. We are having blood donation as well from Rich Hospital. They are coming to take care of it because as we know, there are a lot of issues with blood in our various hospitals. So as part of our Christian values, Joy Temple ICGC medical team has taken it upon itself to help at least get at least 200 pints of blood for Rich Hospital Blood Bank.
Right, nice. Nana, tell me about it. Is it only for Joy Temple members or are we all invited? And when we come, what do we gain? Do we have to pay for it?
Oh no, it's free. And it's for everybody. It's for the general public. I think last year we screened about 1,500 people. And this year, last year wasn't our anniversary. This year is our anniversary, so it means it's bigger. So we are thinking of screening about 3,000, over 3,000 people. That's nice. One nice thing about annual programs, every year it gets improved. So this year it's bigger, it's better. And there's going to be NHIS renewal, and there's going to be issuing of the cards as well. It's instant. So avoid the queues you get to when you go in and come to the church and come and renew it. So this year, it's the same old things we are doing. We did last year, the same screening, the PSAs, the labs. Every lab you can think of will be done tomorrow. The blood donation, like he said already. The dental band is going to be there. So that's also going to be there. And the ophthalmologists will be there. One thing is we also have physicians that will come. So we just don't do the labs. After the labs, you get to see a doctor. Yes, last year we had a gynae doctor. This year we are thinking of getting a cardiologist. So it's going to be bigger. We're expecting everybody to come.
Well, yeah, for you, as the medical team, this is not the first time you're doing it. This is your 6th time. What new thing are you bringing, to bear for this particular one? And then what do you, as the medical team, also expect to get from the community?
Let me first of all say good morning to your viewers and good morning to the resident pastor of Joy Temple, Reverend Costina Hiabo. ICGC, we've been doing this thing for so many years now, for 6 years, as you said. And this year we want to go bigger than we did last year. So we're bringing, as you said, NHIS. We don't want people to go outside with the stress of queuing to be able to register and renew your NHIS card. But when we bring it to our doorstep, it helps people to have the leverage to be able to do their renewal and registration without any stress. That is one thing. And secondly, to what we do is we are going to do hepatitis B. We are not just going to screen, but we are going to give vaccine as well. So these are new things that we want to do, free shot of the vaccine. So these are some of the things that we want to do that will make the program a new thing this time around.
Right. Someone would ask, why is it even important that a church has a medical team?
Okay, as part of ICGC's philosophy, we influence our society. And as part of our influence, we think that, as Jesus did, he didn't just come to speak the gospel, but he touched them. So this is a way that as a church's social responsibility, we are giving to the entire country. Just come and have a feel of Christ through medicine.
Which people make up your medical team? I'd like to know your individual professions that you bring on board.
Well, I'm a certified registered anesthetist. I work at Kolebu Teaching Hospital. And as you can see, I just closed for
Oh, you did a night duty and you're here.
I'm also a nurse. I work at 37. I'm a nurse at 37 Military Hospital.
I'm a paramedic. I work with National Ambulance Service. Let me say hi to my CEO, Professor Ahmed Zakaria.
Oh, I don't want to go on the ambulance service issue because our ambulances have been sitting and they're just vans. But of course, as a team, what have you identified in your community as one of those health problems that you'll be seeking to address? particularly maybe in the church, but also in Asiedu-Dartey where you are?
I think last year, like we said, we had almost everything. All the conditions we see at the hospital come there to the church that day. And you get conditions that are strange. They've been actually sitting at home, either because of money or because of proximity to the hospital, transportation. They are just home. So last year we identified we had goiter, very severe hypertensive patients that have defaulted their medications and they don't want to go to the hospital because they are scared. You know, the society, the community comes with health issues are delicate even in the community. People don't want to talk about it. She's been experiencing something for days and she's holding on. Because it's a church, they know that they are welcome. We are doing it in the church premises. So it's just like walking into the church. But just walk into church and see a doctor. You are not coming to see the pastor tomorrow. You are coming to see a doctor. And it's always been good. And
doesn't that make it, you know, a funny or let's say a murky waters? Because someone will say the Christian should believe that Jesus heals. Ultimately, he is the mighty healer. So why should we come for a doctor to come and talk to us?
Apparently this year, our theme this year is I will be healed. And it was taken from Jeremiah 17:14.
Right.
Yeah, as I said, you know, the Lord aspect is there. The Lord will always heal us, but He uses human beings to also touch our life. So that's why we are bringing these specialists and doctors to come and also help to be able to give necessary care and attention to these people. The challenge sometimes we have it's not like people don't want to go to the hospital. Sometimes the time, you know, we wake up in the morning and we are running helter-skelter. So we come back home and we get home late. So it's difficult for us to always go and assess our medical situation. So when we have this thing at our doorstep, it makes it okay for people to just come closer.
Anyway, thank you guys. So tomorrow, Joy Temple is having a medical screening at their place at Asiedu-Dartey. Make sure you join them there. I've had Yao Osai, Samuel Hemming, and Nana Mensah, all of Joy Medical team at Joy Temple. Thank you guys for joining me. We'll take a break. We'll be back. Stay here with us on New Day.
It's a rainy Friday morning, and I tell you what, when you have soulful singers like Joe Mettle, Luigi McLean, and you have two very wonderful and highly gifted gospel minstrels by your side as well, Dinah Hamilton and Cynthia Macaulay with you in the studio, you feel like a priest already. Ladies, welcome. Good morning.
Good morning.
How are you doing?
Blessed.
You look great.
Thank you.
How's it been for you?
Grace is keeping us.
Well,
same.
Grace.
Yes.
Somebody told me that Christian men are promiscuous. They like grace and mercy at the same time. But I hear you're supporting cervical cancer, the fight against cervical cancer, and you're doing it in a very special way, using worship to do it. Tell me about it, Dinah Hamilton.
Okay, so yes, worship is what I do. Music is what I do. I'm a Christian and I'm a minister of the gospel through music. But I'm also a nurse, and my specialty is practice nursing, which I do a lot of cervical smears, cervical screening. And so when Gina called me and told me about this, I was very excited because I was basically killing two birds with a stone, doing what I love to do, ministry, and also doing my profession as well. Cervical cancer is a serious, deadly disease, spreadable, but preventable. It's not been talked about much here in Ghana, but we're at a stage where it's very important we talk about it. And I'm just blessed that I have the opportunity to be worshiping God, but then also to be able to spread the news and also get people to get themselves screened. And that will also create the awareness out there. And so, yes, we're thanking God for the opportunity to worship God and also be able to talk about cervical cancer.
So, Cynthia, let me come to you. Issues of women are usually left for women to talk about. You don't find the men in there. I see that a group of gospel, singers who are females have put themselves together, led by Janet, of course, to push this. But is that supposed to be so? Just women issues left for women to deal with?
I'm sure there are a lot of men in the background who are supporting this. Yes.
They like staying in the background. That's my problem.
You want them to come forward.
Well, it looks like it's just women, but you see the men playing the instruments. You see men working behind the scenes. You see men on the stage. It's just I'm
it's speaking of advocacy. The advocacy. They like to stay in the background. I mean, if you had the president, for example, in the forefront talking about cervical cancer, then you know we're getting somewhere.
We have doctors that are working on this too. Right. I think there are pastors too that are seeing to it. I mean, helping us in the churches to, kind of promote this so far as this program is coming on. And so it's not like our men has left us. I'm sure you haven't left us.
I haven't.
That is why you're here.
Right from day
That is
one.
why you're helping us. So there are a lot of men in the background that are helping us. And I'm sure very soon they will take up the phone.
Tell me about free screening. It's happening. I'm told it will precede a concert. Tell me about it.
This will also take place at the grounds.
Okay,
I think it's after the program, but we are making people know about cervical cancer, and then let them know where they can go for the screening
for help.
as well.
Okay, so when is this? All of this going down?
The event is on Sunday.
Coming Sunday.
Yes.
Wow, it's just 3 days away.
3 days away. My kids are
2 days
counting. Yeah, 3 days on Monday because I leave for London on Monday. So it's 2 days.
They want you back home.
Yes.
Okay.
But yes, it's 2 days away at the Perez Dome. 4 o'clock.
Okay.
So we're worshiping God on that day, and then we're also creating the awareness and telling people where they can get screened, how they can get screened.
Cynthia Macaulay is going to be there. Diana Hamilton is going to be there. Who else is going to be there?
We have Ohima Messi going to be there. Ntokozo Mbambo is going to be there from South Africa. And then we have Becky Boni.
Okay.
And then also we have Tego Sisters also. And then Reverend Moha Amwako is also going to be there.
Becky Boni?
Becky Boni.
Yes,
Yeah,
Becky Boni is about Sinclair.
Yeah.
Okay.
Now Messi Sinclair will be there as well.
And I understand the funds will go into supporting women with cervical cancer.
Yes.
How much are we contributing each of us?
A ticket goes for 30 for single, and then for double is 50 Ghana cedis, and then for VIP is 80 Ghana cedis.
Oh, there's VIP in worship too. I didn't know about that, but I'll be there hopefully on Sunday to support you. Thank you very much. Keep up the good work, and I'm sure you'll be singing. Oh,
Will I? Do you want me to?
Oh, you should. You should. You should.
Do you want me to?
But where can we get the tickets to contribute? Coco is interested in this. She wore pink today.
Oh, she
in
did.
support of fight against cervical cancer. She's my director actually here.
Okay.
When do we get the?
We have Joy FM. We have CCFM and also Star FM too, and then AIB networks.
Okay, another gate as well.
Yes.
Thank you very much for joining us, ladies.
Too.
Thank you.
God bless you.
So Sunday I'll come for my song, and I'll come for the sweet worship you came to do on 3FM, and you cut it short. You owe me. You owe me. You know you do. Okay. So when we return from the break, we'll be doing some more here on NewDay. I tell you what, there are some entertainment tidbits that you will find out here shortly on the show. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Oh, well, we're just about wrapping up.
That's a beautiful song.
Yeah, it is.
Diana Hamilton. She sings wonderfully.
I like the song.
You should sing too. I mean, the singing medical doctor. You should be like Dr. Nilante.
No, I think I'll be like ACP Helen Tete.
Yeah, but Dr. Nilante is also a medical doctor. He sings reggae.
No, he's a guy. I'm saying if I was to be, then I'll be like...
Yeah, it won't be a bad idea.
It won't be, but God hasn't called me in that ministry.
Will you sing or how many of the songs, or you sing like this?
Hey, my spirit plays those songs like something. I can't deal. No, I will sing to glorify my Maker. Praise.
Is it?
You are Alpha and Omega.
Anyway, so let's say goodbye to you with Tilapia. Yeah. Tilapia says, well, Founders Day, crying more than the bereaved. This is Dr. Kwame Nkrumah, whose birthday is supposed to be, and this is Memorial Day. There's a cake in front of him. And there's Samia Yaban Nkrumah, Dr. Kwame Nkrumah's favorite daughter, and His Excellency, former President Mahama, and President Akufo-Addo. He's heading towards 4th August, Founders Day. He has a beautiful cake. His cake is much more prettier than what the birthday says. Why are you crying more than the bereaved? That's who's that attributed to? Because it's pointing towards. It's atop Samia, but it's pointing towards Dr. Nkrumah as well.
Yeah.
Does the dead speak?
They do. Well, isn't that why we brought libations and call?
Okay. So we call them to come.
As I say,
so they do.
At time more than the bereaved. I see.
Okay.
But why are they all taking the cake towards one direction? They should bring it here so that we can.
Well, we'll see.
If you meet them at August 4th, then you eat some.
Okay, guys.
I don't know what the weather is like out there. It's because it just poured a few minutes ago.
But it's not raining in certain parts, which is very interesting. Because it was very heavy here.
So here's another one that perhaps I need to show you. There's the, what do you call it? The Institute of Media Practice. They've nominated me for, the MABA Rising Star Award in Broadcasting. It says, it's awarded to somebody who's dedicated to duty, ready to learn new things, coherent in thinking and delivery, makes the best of the opportunities to engage in social dynamic change. Personality must show integrity and dynamism. So 5 of us, but you know that when you are with TV3, anything is possible. So congratulations. Senior Bright, you've been nominated too for...
this one has.
Okay, that's the MABA award.
Yes, but this one doesn't have a voting attached to it.
It's a straightforward
This one is the board that decides, so it's highly professional. It's not a populist award. But, you know, Senior Bright, you and I have been nominated in the RTP as well. And not just me, but there's Nane Kia and Bensa Bramp of TV3 as well. So 2 from TV3. It must come here, you know that. So keep praying with us and say, but Senior Bright, you've been nominated as Morning Show of the Year.
But there's a spelling mistake, so is it you? Are you sure?
Yeah, I'm trying to say
it sounds like it's been spelled like a medicine.
Paracetamol.
Yeah. Bright and for more.
He's a painkiller in himself. So I'm sure
I don't quit supporting the RTP award.
Yeah.
So
and I've been nominated as well in the RTP, the what do you call it, Radio Development Show Host of the Year. Yeah, for Community Connect. So at least our work has been recognized. It is two nominations in 1 week.
Anyway, the money you're going to show us the money before we
go? Yesterday was Nkrumah Memorial Day or Founders Day. So we thought that we should let you know the cash that we have. This is what? This is an old 2 CD note. Yes, this is an old 2 CD note that we have. A lot of children did it. This is an old 50 CDs note. This old 100 CDs. This will be 1 CD now, right?
This is Dr. Gama's signature.
Yes.
Dance.
But why was the man wearing jerry curls?
It was a woman, wasn't it?
This is a 50 CD note. This is a 5 CD note. Check out the 10 CD note. Okay, so perhaps you check out. Wow. Charlie, but we have money. Look, this is 1,000 Ghana CD. What is that? This is
pounds.
Colonial Pounds.
That has the pounds.
That's pounds, 1,000 pounds from Colonial Ghana. You remember this 5,000?
Yes, it was pretty.
This is quite new. This has Dr. Kwabena Dufour's
This is 1,000 as well. But it has a gamma.
This is a gamma. But the other 5 CDs.
I mean, this
was also
one.
nice.
It was also nice.
It looked like it had kente.
£5. £5. But hey, guys.
Anyway.
If you have Wachi on your mind, this is how your Wele comes to you. Should we start a fight against Wele? I don't know. But this is how your Wele comes to you.
That's all. If only we can win.
FDA, good morning to you. Maria Lovelace Johnson. She will tell you it is shared responsibility. Mr. Isel as well.
So we are doing our shared responsibility.
By showing it.
That we should not go and buy with.
You showed it. So now
so we have shown it.
Yeah, someone must.
So the people who will go and buy, they should not buy.
And naturally, let's also tell the Ministry of Roads, the road in front of the Lekma Hospital. We are told it is the Teshin Link Road.
The Teshin Link,
this is our personal campaign. Please get that road fixed. A lot of market women, hospital women,
pregnant women
use